sports fans. I'm in Sydney, Australia, and I can't believe I'm here. Really, this is a dream destination for me for a long time, and to be able to see some of these sites is pretty incredible. But of course, there's sports involved in this trip, and tonight we're going to go out to the suburbs and see some rugby. So let's go.
If you're new to this channel, my name is Ed, and I chronicle all my sports travels on my website, Itinerary. It has guides to all the stadiums in the major American sports leagues, plus some college stadiums and even major venues around the world. Check it out sometime if you're into traveling for sports. In Australia, many of the attractions that are appealing to visitors can be found in Sydney and the surrounding area. And that includes sports, which I'm indulging in by checking out a rugby league match. But how did I find myself down under in the first place, when I'm normally exploring the sports landscape in America? Let's rewind just a little bit, to less than 24 hours before at Los Angeles International Airport. From LAX, you can fly non-stop to Sydney, and for this trip, my daughter and I did so on Qantas using their jumbo Airbus A380. It's a journey of more than 14 hours, and I'm doing this in economy class. But at least the price was right. I redeemed credit card points, 41,000 of them one way, plus $113 in fees per ticket. They gave us some decent amenities, and I have to say the two meals served to us, a dinner and a breakfast, were pretty good. It wasn't the most comfortable journey, of course, but we did manage to get some shut-eye. And after taking off on a Tuesday evening, we arrived in Sydney on a Thursday morning. Gotta love time zones. Once we made it into the city, we made it a point to get a glimpse of some of the iconic sites we've spent so many years hearing about and seeing on TV. But also the first sporting event of our trip awaited. To get there, we'd have to leave Central City by train and head to the suburb of Parramatta, where the match would take place at CommBank Stadium. We managed to sneak in an afternoon nap, but were still admittedly jet-lagged when we began the half-hour trip west. After getting off at the Parramatta station, we had to walk quickly to the local light rail line. And a ride of 3 stops brought us to Prince Alfred Square, just a short walk from the stadium. Admittedly, I don't follow much rugby, so I had a lot to learn on this night. If you're a fan of rugby and Australia's National Rugby League, or NRL, please forgive some of my naive observations. But I was super excited to get into a sport I had never really explored before.
So my understanding is that this is not Penrith's normal home stadium. They play, the suburb of Penrith is much farther from central Sydney than Parramatta is, but their stadium is currently under renovation, so they've moved to this for this current season, and so that's why we're here tonight.
I had chosen to attend this match simply out of convenience, as it was the only NRL match I could get to during my trip. What I didn't realize though was that the Penrith Panthers are the reigning NRL premiers, meaning they're the defending champions of the league, and they're the 4-time defending champions at that. So I picked a juggernaut of a team to see. Getting to see a new stadium is thrilling to me no matter where I am, especially if I'm halfway around the world from my home. But within a couple of minutes of entering CommBank Stadium, I was treated to a reminder that some customs transcend continents. Penrith's opponent on this night was the Canterbury-Bankstown Bulldogs, and it appeared as though the seats I picked were in the visiting team section because I wound up near most of the Bulldogs fans, and they were loud and proud throughout the match, which was pretty impressive. I also couldn't help but notice that the game presentation here is very much like what you'd see in American football, right down to the light shows, player intros on the screen and on the field, and of course, the cheerleaders. The stadium wasn't full, but the pageantry of how things were presented still made me feel like I was watching a special event to Australians. From here, I was only hoping the game action would be just as good, and I wouldn't be disappointed.
So I'm going to be the first to admit I'm not a huge rugby fan and don't necessarily know the rules of the game, but I've done some studying of the rules of this league and the teams involved, and so I'll do my best to follow the action here. Some of the rules are fairly similar to American football, which is kind of cool, and like the markings on the field have a little bit of similarity to American football, so that's a good start, at least, as far as keeping track of everything that's going on.
So I know I'm making a lot of comparisons to American football, and I don't know if rugby fans would consider that apt or not. Let me know in the comments how you feel about that. But I will say that as an inexperienced watcher of rugby, making those comparisons helped me follow the action better and get a sense of what the teams were trying to achieve. At least until I was able to pick up some of the more subtle rules of the game. And then take into account that some rules in the NRL are different than international rugby, which I have slightly more experience watching. For example, there are fewer scrums in the NRL, and when they do happen, they involve fewer players than in international play. What seems clear to me is that the differences are meant to encourage faster and more exciting gameplay in the NRL. For example, whenever a player is tackled, he keeps the action moving by getting up and using his foot to roll the ball back to a teammate. I learned later that this is called playing the ball. The fact that the action is continually moving makes it breathtaking to watch as a spectator, even a novice one like myself.
Right, well, it's halftime, and my main impression is this game moves really fast. But I really like how a play ends, and they just keep the game moving because one play ends, the next one begins. So 40-minute half was really fast paced. And a little more low scoring than I expected, but looking forward to an exciting second half.
The second half between the Panthers and Bulldogs featured more of the same, a low-scoring, strategic struggle. By this time, I felt like I understood most of what was going on, including some of the strategy involved as both teams were fighting in a very close game. And as it turned out, we are in for a super thrilling ending. Trailing by 2 points on their final possession, the Bulldogs went for a try and the victory, but got stopped short as time ran out. To make one last American football comparison, it was like a game-winning goal line stand by the Panthers. And though the Bulldogs fans in front of me were disappointed, I think I could tell everyone was appreciative of what an exciting match it was.
Well, that match was exciting as hell. I didn't think an 8-6 score would. You told me the final score of this game would be 8-6. I probably assumed that this game would be boring, but that game was super exciting. Came down to a final play and had everyone on the edge of their seats. Unfortunately, sitting near the visiting team fans, they were all disappointed in the end. But yeah, that was actually pretty thrilling.
I went online the next morning to see what was being said about this game, and I was happy to see my inexperienced view of it was pretty much validated. I mean, look at some of these headlines. All-time thriller, and then win for the ages. What an introduction to sports in Australia. And in the end, I have to say that fighting through jet lag and making the trip to the Sydney suburbs to see a sport I had little experience following was absolutely worth it. Sometimes it pays when you travel to step outside your comfort zone, and that goes for watching spectator sports too, because sometimes a sport you don't even understand can make for a really thrilling night. Are you a big fan of the Australian NRL? Or are you planning a trip to Australia soon and hoping to see some sports? If so, I'd love to know. Leave a like or a comment below and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel because we'll be making a lot more stadium and travel videos like this one. And if you're looking for more info on other major cities or sports venues, and of course, watching sports around the world, head to itinerantfan.com. Thanks for watching and happy travels!